All right, let's turn back to Los Angeles protests and some of the legal questions raised by President Trump's decision to send in the National Guard. CBS News legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson joins us now. Jessica, good to see you. So walk me through this. What's the legal justification President Trump is using to send the National Guard to Los Angeles?
It's great to be with you. So he's pointing to a federal statute. We're referring to it as Title 10, and it essentially gives President Trump and any other president the power to federalize the National Guard, to send them in for certain limited duties if the president believes that there's a rebellion or the danger of a rebellion. Tom, there are other sections to that federal statute, but that's the one that the president in his memorandum pointed to. Now, when it comes to what the National Guard could then do, as I said, under the statute, it does give the president broad authority. But what the National Guard can do once they're here is limited. They can only act in a supporting role to help protect federal officers or federal property. They can't themselves act to do things like searches, seizures, and actually arrest people, for instance.
So is there anything else that they have the power to do when it comes to interactions with civilians? What are they legally allowed to do specifically?
Great question. And as things potentially escalate, I think we might be encountering that question on a case-by-case basis. The bottom line is that what the National Guard can do right now is not directly enforce domestic law. Instead, what they can do is look at federal property and help to protect that property. Maybe that changes depending on the situation in terms of what exactly that interaction with people could look like. They can provide basic support services for federal agents, but they cannot be the ones like federal agents can be, actually executing search warrants, actually executing arrest warrants. That is not currently within the purview of the National Guard.
One of the things I want to get your expertise on, Jessica, the president was asked over the weekend about invoking the Insurrection Act, and he didn't rule it out. Can you just get us up to speed on what the Insurrection Act is and what legal issues it may raise?
Yes, a really important question that we might at some point encounter because, as you said, the president hasn't ruled it out. So when I was just saying at this point the National Guard is limited in what it can do, that's because there's a different federal statute, a very old statute, the Posse Comitatus Act. And that basically says that the military cannot act as a domestic law enforcement agency. The president cannot order that the military be enforcing domestic law against residents of the United States, unless, and here's the exception, the president says, I'm using the Insurrection Act. And the Insurrection Act gives the president the power to suspend those protections of Posse Comitatus. At that point, you have the National Guard doing what every other federal agent can do. At that point, you do have the National Guard, again, directly enforcing domestic law. And then the legal questions become different as well. The legal questions are whether or not the prerequisites for the president deciding to invoke the Insurrection Act kick in, and how much power the National Guard can take at that point, or any other branch of the military.
Yeah, what would be a dramatic escalation, or potentially dramatic escalation if deployed. Jessica Levinson, we appreciate your expertise. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.